the most famous, of course, being the U.S. involvement in Afghanistan in the 1980s, back when they were helping the freedom fighters, the Taliban, before they started going after the evil terrorists, the Taliban. Unfortunately, a script we know all too well, and when it comes to arming, how these groups are armed and trained, it just continues.
Syria, we backed, I believe, in some cases, some of the wrong people, and not in the right part of the Free Syrian Army, and that's a little confusing to people. So I've always maintained, and go back quite some time, that we were backing the wrong types. I think it's going to turn out maybe this weekend in a new special that Brett Baer is going to have Friday that's going to show some of those weapons from Benghazi ended up in the hands of ISIS. So we helped build ISIS. Now there's a danger there, and I'm with you.
Oh, you're with us. Well, good. I'm glad you at least still admit that. Of course, that was I believe, a General McInerney. At any rate, the link will be in the show notes, so you can see that. Yes. Oh, as it turns out, wouldn't you? How can you ever know these things? Funding the moderates, apparently some of this went to the ISIS. I mean, imagine that. So we kind of build up ISIS. Oh, and let's go to the next news story. So again, this is not controversial. This is not something that we have to speculate about. This is something that's been documented in a lot of mainstream contexts as well. So really, this brings us to the heart of the question: who is behind ISIS? And there are at least 6 groups. We could probably dig deeper and bring in some other groups, but 6 of the main groups that we could identify as being the real powers that have brought ISIS to the position that it's in right now. And in alphabetical order, that would be Israel, NATO, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and the US. Although to a certain extent these are groups rather than nation states per se, specifically in the case of Saudi Arabia, where of course the House of Saud has institutional and fundamental reasons why it would not be happy about a radical caliphate on its doorstep, because obviously that would threaten the institution of the House of Saud itself. But certainly individual Saudis, private donors, as we've said, and including some members of the Royal House of Saud, would be interested in helping and funding a radical Wahhabi jihadi Salafi group.